There it is. Boom, it's live, just like that. Then
right.
you can see everything. You can see it on this side. So there, I just got the notification. So that means we're live.
Yeah.
And then you can see up here in the corner, it tells us that. And if you, over on the right-hand side, you see something that says comments. So you
live comments.
Perfect. So see, you'll be able to see them as they come in right there. Perfect.
And we're empty right now.
Yeah. So as they come in here, they'll usually say hi, hello. We go through all that stuff. So welcome. Today is March 30th. Another Q&A with TNG. TNG. This sounds like a great show.
And I am prepared.
Oh, yeah. The Rona is a good thing to have. I got a little Captain and Coke. So what better thing to have on this fine Monday afternoon? Good times will happen. Christine is tied up in a meeting. It was supposed to be earlier and things got pushed back. So he is going to maybe try and slide in and join us.
Well, let's let everybody know what really happened. He got detention during the kids' school day today.
I think that might have happened. He was a little stressed out about that. I was stressed. I was supposed to have a call from 4:30 to 5:30, which is why we pushed this back. And then I sign in the call, and I'm waiting, and nothing popped up. And then 4:30, like, hey, so we have a sick kid. Is there any way we can reschedule this for later in the week? Perfect. So I was very stressed about that. Now I can be stressed about it for another 5 days or whatever until it goes through there. So,
well, before we get started, I need to point out that Connie has won the internet today. TNG is not as much fun as TNA.
How do we know? Yeah, TNG is saying it, but TNG might be as much fun as TNA.
I'm not sure that's what you meant.
GTs are fun. Any car model that you get as a GT is always better than the regular one, right? So, something like that. So, if you guys don't know, welcome, Grant. Tell us a little about yourself. What brought you here today?
Well, Todd's looking for help on Facebook, and I've got nothing better to do since we're all stuck at home. So figure might as well hop online and see if I can help answer some questions from my not so expert position working for Designs by Vanessa.
But that is, though, because with this, that's where a lot of it comes into, where we all help each other and we get along. So this is going to be perfect for it. So look, so our first question, let me get it pulled up in here, and we're going to copy, paste, and then we should be good to go from that. Banner. I think this is how it's going to work, and we'll see.
Well, there's Vanessa. So now I don't have to get in trouble.
Perfect. So there we go. First question: how do you know when it's time to take the jump and buy new or upgrade equipment? For example, I'd love to get a bigger and better heat press. When to get a shipping label printer instead of using, I think there's more to it, using a regular printer is what the end of that was there. So what's your thoughts on that there, Grant?
I mean, my perspective might be a little different than a lot of the people on the call. A little backstory with Vanessa's business only being a few years old, the similar conversation was had not too long ago. And, she was busy. She was using the Cricut Easy Press. She was able to get some heat transfer stuff done via that way. But really what it came down to is, the delta of right time, right price, and right need, and just being able to keep up with some larger transfers and expand business offerings. And while the cost was substantial moving into a Hotronics, I mean, they're expensive, it allowed such an increase in productivity. So from my standpoint, if you're looking at your workflow today and you've got time, right? We're all at home. Our lives have been shut down. What better time to make an investment in yourself and in your business than right now? You're going to learn how to use it. You're going to have time to perfect it. You're going to learn new tricks, and it's going to open up new avenues that you wouldn't have been able to do before.
Yeah, and totally right along those lines is the whole time saving, because if you're spending time, especially if you got a smaller press and you've got to press multiple times on something, and you can go to a bigger one, and now you go from multiple presses to one, great. If it's something that, is just going to be faster and more consistent on it, you can't get time back. So the amount that you're going to spend on that will make up for it. And the other thing, too, is when you're buying a quality press, something like a Hotronics or a Hicks or something along those lines, yeah, they're going to spend money on it. But at that same time, it's going to last you. I've got a Hicks over here that is, I'm betting 40 years old. It doesn't even have a digital timer. It's got like a meat thermometer timer on it, or for a temperature gauge. For the timer on it, it's a dial. It doesn't go any more than past 30 seconds. You can crank it past there and it goes to 37. I've said plenty of times here when we did sublimation on it, Corey hated it because you had, 23 seconds of beeping, but it works. I'll never get rid of it because it's always there for that reason. And It's one of those things where get something good, invest the money in it, and it'll take care of itself for you. And then,
Well, there's one more thing to that.
yeah,
Invest in a heat press if you realize that you are cold in your office. It
yeah,
will instantly increase the temperature of the room 10 degrees. It's
absolutely.
perfect for these cool spring days. You can open the window a little bit, keep the feet nice and chill or nice and toasty.
Well, see, look at this. Christine said that, you undersold yourself in your introduction. Good answer. So, see, you brought something to it. Don't worry about that.
Well, thank you, Christine. The check's in the mail.
Right? Perfect. And what does she have here? Georgia Knight heat presses that have been with the company at least as long as I have, 14 plus years. Some are probably over 20. I bet they're older than that, Christine. I'm betting probably 30 years. Because I said, when we had a switch that actually went down in ours, and I called them. They said they don't even manufacture that switch anymore. But they said here, and this how long ago that happened. They said, go to Radio Shack. Here's the part number that we're recommending people to get. So it was super simple. They had a part number ready in hand, sent it to us. When they're able to go over, get that, replace the switch, and everything was fine with it. So when you get with a quality company, they're going to take care of their stuff. So that's one of the reasons I do that. Now, on the second half of that was the whole label printer, which didn't we just have this conversation not too long ago?
Was that Saturday that we
Yeah,
sat down and talked about that for a good hour?
perfect one. It got to a point where when I got tired of writing out labels, as we'd started doing more and more stuff daily, and it was just so much simpler to hit a button and have it export in there and then print out the labels for me. So I say as soon as you start shipping things, make an investment in it because it's going to be with you for a while. And if you take that expense as just a part of doing business, it's going to save you time, and you don't have to worry about your hand cramping up on things. So I say that's one of the things that if you start shipping things and you're consistently shipping, if you're shipping one or two things a month, it's hard to justify the cost of it. But if you're shipping, a couple times a week, definitely invest in getting that. It's something that it will be a life changer if you're one that writes it. And me, I have crappy handwriting, so that label thing is perfect for that.
So it's funny you bring that up in the question being here, given our conversation. We've gone back and forth with Vanessa's business, and shipping has been something that has been done maybe once a month, twice a month. And the idea of being able to print out on 8.5 by 11 paper, fold it, tape it, that works, right? You can do that through Pirate Ship or ShipStation or any of the others. But I keep thinking back to myself as a digital marketer working for a technology company, and consumer experience is everything, right? So the way I see it is every package that you get from a subscription service or even the professional sellers on eBay all come with thermal printed labels.
Mm-hmm.
And if nothing else, in a poly mailer or something like that, a thermal printed label is going to look more professional. It's going to have your branding. It's going to let people know that you're something different than the crafter at home that's just doing that in their free time. And those little things can really help to build your business and to let people know that you don't need a physical storefront to be a professional business.
Yeah, the biggest thing in our business is not necessarily what we're producing, but how we sell ourselves.
Right.
A lot of people, they don't know where something's coming. They don't know if you're doing stuff out of your house, out of your garage. If you have a 300 square foot store or a 30,000 square foot store, all they know is that they order something, it shows up, it's what they want, and they had a good experience doing it. So you can say anything. Nobody is saying you work out of your house, this is going to be a crap product. No, if your pictures are good, if your descriptions are good, and it shows up as described, as pictured, you did your job. You're going to look professional at doing it, as opposed to I'm just throwing stuff together. I'm using leftover packaging from something else. I'm just kind of half-assing it. So the more effort you put in that, the more professional you're going to look on your side.
Let's talk about the revenue piece of that for a second too. One of the things that I looked at is you do have a pretty steep startup cost. You're roughly $200 when you get into some of these printers, but let's face it, nobody wants to handwrite out labels. Therefore, you're less inclined to offer shipping on your website.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to generate more porch pickups or drop-offs. But really, from a profit standpoint, if you're building in fixed rate shipping at, say, $7 for a t-shirt, or in your case, $10 for two, if you send them as separate packages, even first class, you have $3.50 to $4 to ship each of those shirts. You can turn out an extra $1 or $2 or $3 per order and add more convenience.
Yeah.
The other piece of it is people were perfectly okay with doing porch pickups, but now they're no longer going into grocery stores. So having the ability to offer shipping to a wider reach of your customers, whether it be through your Equid sites or your other things, again, gives you a better consumer experience that can help generate more income and make you look more professional. So it
Right.
kind of all ties into everything that's going on in the world.
Right. And if you don't know what Grant's talking about as far as shipping costs, if you sign up with someone like Pirate Ship or ShipStation or even stamps.com, you can get a shipping account where you're getting a discounted rate on shipping. So, you're not paying what if somebody were to pack something up and then go to the post office and do it. One of the other things that I like is at least for us, we can schedule our pickups. So post office to drop things off. I know when my stuff is going to be picked up, it's there. If we miss that, then I can take it and drop it off. But the whole convenience factor of it too, of being able to pick things up, being able to get that discounted shipping, signing up for any one of those accounts, it's a game changer for you if you haven't done it already in your shipping things. It should definitely be something you're doing.
And we just did that. I mean, I'm as new to it as anybody could be, but it's extremely easy to do.
Yeah. All right, let me pull up here. Let's see. Let me see, because I know there's some questions that Aaron would be rock solid at, so I'm going to leave those for maybe when he joins us. Let's see here. Let's go with this one here. Let's see if Vanna create paste add banner show. So I feel like I need to offer so much. When do I need to purchase new equipment? Grant, you got any thoughts on this one too?
So it's kind of like packing for a vacation. They tell you to bring twice the money and half the clothes.
Yeah.
You don't need to buy equipment to offer more things.
Yep.
That is the quickest way to go into bankruptcy. If you look at any company that goes out and spends in the hopes of sales, they will not be in business.
Yep.
Before you buy any equipment, and Todd can speak to this better than anybody, use the people that are in the community, like Todd, like Matt, like so many others, to make things for you.
Yeah.
Sublet. If there's 8 working hours in the day, if you're not an expert at something, give it to somebody who is, because you can continue to work during that time. You can effectively double bill by subletting jobs out.
Yep.
That said, you do need to have the fundamentals. You need to have software. You need to have a cutter. You need to have a heat press. You need to have accounting software. You need to have the core equipment programs to do what you need to do. But let Todd spend 30 grand on a printer. Use him, because the odds of me making that money back, slim to none. I would rather send it to you, who's going to use it all day, every day, and I just make the profit on the job.
Yeah, we did that, in the beginning. I thought I needed everything. And then I started looking at the cost. And it wasn't until I knew that we were producing enough to afford to do it ourselves. Even now, looking back on this, if this all goes to hell and we close down the retail shop, we'll still stay online. But I'm totally fine with just doing sales. Just let me sell stuff and let somebody else produce it. Then I can focus my time on just sales, collect that money from that. Yeah, I'm not making as much, but then I sure as hell don't have that overhead for it either. If I have my embroiderer, take care of all that. If I have a screen printer, take care of all this. If I have an engraver, take care of all this. I can offer all those things and just get with them. Here's my price list on stuff. I know what it is. I add my markup to it. And now I'm making money just by hitting buttons. So, you don't have to offer. I mean, you can. I guess it's 2 things. You can offer everything you want. You just don't have to buy the equipment to do it. Find somebody to do it. Find someone that does it well. Find someone that you can work with. Most places that, no matter what the printing you do, just call them up. Just talk to them. It's one of those things where there's a transfer company I just don't really care for to do business with. I had a couple issues with them. Other people love them greatly, and they have nothing but stuff for them. I'll never talk bad about them. It just wasn't a good fit for either one of us. So be it. That's why there's so many choices to pick so many different people from. Just try them out, see how you like things, and go from there. Screen printing was something that we looked at doing, and even now, I still want to do it. I still want to get it in here. I still wanted the process of it, and I think that's the only reason, just to see how much I hate it. But I love doing it in high school. It was fun to do, but it's messy. There's inks. There's all of this. Man, it's so much easier to hit that button and get those transfers to show up and not have that added expense of it.
So to add to that, Christine's comment saying subletting lets you test the market, right? Mm-hmm. So specifically, let's talk about sublimation for a minute.
Yeah.
Sublimation can have a very, very low, cost of entry. You can buy an Epson printer like you have and like we have, a couple $100 set up with ink, the whole 9 yards, ready to go. But what's the time learning curve on that?
Yeah.
So if you're going to test a market, why learn on your dime? Learn on Todd's or learn on somebody else's. Contract with somebody to send you the transfers. You've already got a heat press. You can press it. Boom, done. See what the market will take. Experiment with your products that way. And whether it be sublimation, DTG, rhinestones, what have you, lean on the people that do it all the time to see if your market will support it, and then back into the math to determine if you can make a profit doing it.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a great point on the sublimation side of it. How many times when you guys have just started off doing something, did you go through a dozen mugs to make sure everything was right with it? Color, here's my time, here's my temp, here's this. Is the pressure right? Is there this or that?
Did I take the plastic label off it?
Oh, yeah. How many times did you mess things up? And it's just part of the learning curve from it. But guess what? If I order that from somebody who that's their job, it shows up to me done. I don't have the cost. I don't have the learning cost. And it's just like, when people order decals from me, you know how many times I'll forget to change the profile, or I'll forget to do something that comes out and I catch it through it. They didn't pay for that. That was my mistake. It's just one of those things that it's all part of it on the back end that they never see. They order something, it shows up, it's how they want it, it's perfect. That's, you do not have that in there, and it's great to be able to hit buttons and make money.
So to that, what's your spoilage on sublimation substrates?
Oh, I automatically, if I'm getting something new, if I order something new in, I order at least twice of what I need, because if I need 12 of something, order 24, because I don't know if it's something new. A lot of times, I'd probably say in that 5% range. It's the initial time and temp of setting everything up. I figure every time I get something, I'm going to burn through at least a dozen of them. And what I'll do is, like mugs, when I get something new, I don't put a full design on it. I'll make little 1-inch designs,
test strips,
put it on there. Yep. Now let's see what happens until we find the right one. Because sometimes it's just even the placement of it, where moving that mug just a quarter one way or the other changes how everything fits in there. So it's how to do that. If you're on slates, slate was one that took me a while, because you got 6 to 8 minutes in press time.
Right.
Man, that's a tough pill to swallow when you do that, because you've already spent $8 to $12 on a blank. And then now you've got 8 minutes in it, and it turns out like crap. What do you do? So you just keep testing it. So you keep that notebook, close by. You go through. Here's test 1. Here was the time. Here's the temp. Here's the pressure. You keep doing that. I always, on most things, whoever you buy it from, they're going to give you the recommended time and pressure, temperature. That's not necessarily perfect for everybody. That's just works for them and how they've put it out there. But that's a good starting point for it, because then if my ink's turning this color, I need more time, less time, more heat, less heat, more pressure, less pressure.
Brown,
you can
brown versus green on your black, right?
Yep. Yeah. So you start playing with that a little bit more, but you at least have a base from there, and then you take it one way or another and just learn. But yeah, and some of any of that expensive stuff, I always try, how many pieces can I break this up into so I can get the process right? Because the last thing I want to do is just keep pissing away money on blanks that aren't going to work. So what does Christine say here? Doing a test run also takes the anxiety out of investing in equipment and then having to find customers. Yeah. Test run first, the customers are there before you invest in the equipment. Build the market and then buy the equipment when the need is there. Absolutely, Christine. That's what we did with our printer. We've been doing decals for a while, and the main reason that I bought it was our turnaround time typically when we order stuff was about 5 to 7 days. But being in the mall, I knew I was going to need more on demand for full color heat transfers for pictures and that on shirts. I wasn't going to have people wait for that. Giving them that shorter lead time allowed me to increase value on things, and then knowing that what we were already printing out for decal signs, banners that we were having somebody else do, I could bring that in house and do it. Now there's still times that I still use my previous printer on things because I just don't have the time to sit and do that. I can send it to them. My price reflects where we were with them, so I'm still making money off of it. And like I said, if everything went to hell, that's what I would do. Is start over and just do sales, have somebody else do it, and not have all the overhead.
It's funny. Yeah, we talked about that on the weekend.
Yeah,
that if you could do everything all over again, there's a reason salespeople get paid so well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because they can make anything.
It's not because they're pretty either. They just, they know their job and you know it well, and you sell. And at the end of it, you're selling yourself. There's times that I've paid more from people because I like the person, and I felt comfortable with them, because it just makes it, a better experience. When you have that better buying experience from somebody, you can translate that same experience into you selling to your end customer. So it creates that whole bond all the way through. You feel like you're a part of it. You just feel like you're hitting a button, and then, okay, whatever happens. So I would totally do sales and be sales. It's just, I'll go back to that 100 times.
So it's funny that came up. in Vanessa's business, she's the maker, she's the creative one. I'm the salesperson at heart. And I think that all the training that is in this industry, I look at it from the outside because I have no artistic ability. I can't make anything, but I could sell ice to an Eskimo if I had to. And I think that as a community, we need to do a better job of educating each other on sales process and customer procurement and, keeping track of your customers, loyalty programs, things like that. Because let's face it, advertising is expensive. Creating new products to try to market them is expensive. But learning sales skills is something that I think everybody could benefit from that's out there, because there's right brain and left brain people. And they do things very differently.
Yeah. And you'd be one to definitely. How many salespeople do you have under you, Grant?
14.
Okay, so 14 of them. Do they just go off on their own and do their own thing, or do they have a kind of structured follow along of here's how you sell something, here's how it goes? Do they have basically a training manual of here's how you wanted things done, or did you let them do their own thing?
One of the perks of being publicly traded is we've got processes on top of processes on top of processes. But my 14 people are spread out all over the country, and they have certain metrics that they have to meet every day for prospecting and customer retention. And all of that is revenue neutral. They're conversations that have to be had. Whether it be networking or follow-up, things that are very difficult to do in this business when you're stuck behind the desk or the computer all the time, plugging away at making designs or printing transfers or pressing things. Is that rubber meets the road. You're not out meeting people.
Right. Yeah, and I think some people don't take that into account. That's why things cost what they do. Is you spend a lot of time on that back side of it, where you're not making any money, where you're you're just talking with people. Every time it's always a sale. Either there's times that I kind of look at it as from Boiler Room, one of my favorite movies. You're either going to be sold on a reason why they're not going to buy something, or you're going to sell them on a reason to buy something. That's how every conference goes. Somebody sold somebody. Either they told you, hey, this is why I don't need it, and you went with it, or you told them why they needed it. It's one of those. Somebody's going to make the sale. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be the customer? And sometimes there's some legitimate reasons out there, but a lot of them come down to you not knowing your process, knowing how to sell, not having the answers that are there. And the biggest thing to say, is if you don't know something, hey, I don't know, but I can find out for you. Don't try and. I think there a lot of times when I went and asked somebody a question, they've kind of given me these big bold answers, and or throw this technical jargon at me that I'm just say, I don't need to know any of this. I asked you a question about this. If you don't know, just tell me, and we're fine with it, because you don't need to know everything. So sales is a fun process. I think it's one of the things that we've talked about offering is more sales training on that side of it, because there's so many levels of it. That's why there's so many levels of a salesman. A salesman, account manager, general manager, and it goes up the chain, because the higher up you are, the more you can help people out. You don't have to be perfect at it. You just have to be real at it. People buy you, and that's what I kind of feel about it. How about what's your thoughts on just sales in general, there, Grant?
Well, we've been talking about strategies, Vanessa and I, about how to get new clients during this downturn, right? I mean, that's something that I think we're all struggling with. There's a lot of uncertainty, and this is unprecedented. The economy crash in 2009 was a little predictable, right? We could see things happening, but really, we all turned the news on 2 weeks ago, and the world ended.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that every single person I know is doing right now is spring cleaning.
Yes.
And divesting themselves of the junk that we've accumulated in our houses. For example, and I'm going to call Vanessa out, she's going to hate me. She had something like 975 curling irons.
She's got a lot of hair.
Really, well, she does have a lot of hair, but really it was 9 of them. It was 9 of them. She got rid of 7 of them, sold one, and gave a bunch of them away for free. Well, in each of those bags should be a business card, should be a flyer, should be a coupon code. There should be a face-to-face introduction with a wave or an elbow bump rather than a handshake, and just saying, hey, this is what I do for a living. I'd love for you to check out, follow my page, follow my TikTok, something like that to help drum up some business that doesn't cost anything when people are starting to spend money again.
Yeah, absolutely. On that, that's why I think one of the biggest thing that people have is, we're online, and so they don't feel like they have to have that interaction with people. Right. And whether you're doing it, face to face, whether you're doing it online, you still need to have that interaction with it, because on something like that, who knows, she could have given that to somebody. It might not have panned out with them, but she could have told somebody about it. Hey, I got this from this girl. This is this, and it turns into something from there. It's it never seems to be the person that you gave it to, but always to see to be that one step beyond. Somebody heard that or saw that, or somebody at the office that you did something for, they saw it and they wanted it in there. So, it's having that connection on way to get back is always a great idea on it.
Well, and the next step to that is being able to track the efficacy of those efforts, right? So I know you've talked about this, and Matt has too, coupon codes.
Yep.
If you've got 10 or 15 loyal customers that have continued to buy from you, even during this downturn, create a coupon code with it being their last name and set it up through your Equid store, whatever your e-com platform is, and encourage them to share it. And then track the number of people that use that coupon code, and then give something free.
Yeah.
Vanessa kills me all the time. I tell her give away free stuff like it's her money.
Because it is.
Well, because it is. It's not my money. I'm just a marketer. So, but tracking it back to that individual person, let your brand evangelist be your brand evangelist. Let them go out and sell for you and give them something in return. I think that in this world, I mean, we're all meeting through Zoom and everything else these days, but it's still a face-to-face world. People want to buy from people, and more importantly, people that they like. And if we can humanize that and have people talk about you as the person, not just the business, you're gonna be able to grow your business.
Yeah, I think especially now, if anybody's seen it in the last 2 weeks, you've seen more people doing more things online. I mean, right. I'm seeing, now club parties online. Hey, put this on your TV. We'll play, we got the music going for you. Here's this, I've seen more just people getting on. Hey, here's what we saw in the community. Here's what we saw this, the what is it? The Heartland Hearts. I don't know, the Hearts in the Window. That started down in Galesburg by us, which is about 45 minutes from it. When Corey joined the group, I think there was like 150, 200 people in the group. And she looked at it today, and there's 500,000 people in the group now, and that's been a week, maybe 2 weeks that it's happened. It's just blown up. And people like seeing, when you're doing good for other people, trying to, just be real. And this is going to, I think, change a lot of the way people the way that people do things. It's going to become the new norm. This is just how it's going to be, and we're going to see a lot change from it. And get on the board now, and you put yourself out there. Why not?
Here's some proof. Text message was the death of human interaction. We all talk about our kids don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to interview for that, anything like that. I interview people periodically that have no human interaction skills, but you see them in a digital world and they're great. Well, in the last week, there's been 62 million downloads of video conferencing software. So what that tells me is that in times of crisis or uncertainty, people want to connect with other people. They don't want to send a text message. So what I take away from that is if somebody's texting you or sending you a Facebook message for an order, if you've got the ability to video chat them or pick up the phone and call them to introduce yourself, that will go a long way in building a connection. Christine just posted, connecting is so important. Sales still come from trust. If you feel that you know someone and can trust them, you're more likely to make a purchase. There's nothing more true, especially in this industry. This is disposable money for a lot of people. It's discretionary income for a lot of the products that you make. So marketing yourself and getting out there and actually speaking to people, whether it be through video or on the phone, is going to go a long way when people have that money again.
Yeah, and we've done Zoom calls recently where people didn't even turn their camera. It was just, here's the voice. So they had somebody to talk to, and it still works. You're still going to have that. And here, we're going to try it out. What is it? This Friday for the decorators community for, get in for Zoom can hold 100 people, but here's cocktail,
40 minutes though.
For what? No.
It's only 40 minutes. Yeah. Zoom free is only 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Yeah. 40 minutes. I thought you said 4 minutes. I'm like, whoa, 4 minutes. We can have many drinks in 4 minutes. But that's the thing is you're going to see a lot more of that, and people are going to be fine with that. So, just like I say, get out there, do what you got to do, and be out there.
There's the other thing that I've been encouraging Vanessa to do is take video.
Yeah.
What better time than now to throw a camera up and show somebody you designing a shirt or pressing a shirt, or at least an introduction to your customers. Hey, I'm Grant. This is what I do. I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah. Or even with her on the baking side of it, let me put a camera on that oven door and let me watch that, whatever rise. Let me see the process of it, see that, because that's the thing is anything that's hand done, if you hand draw, hand paint, hand carve, like her hand ice, anything like that, and you can set up a time lapse for it and put it on something, And people just eat that up because they just love to consume something that they're not able to do. I'll watch, and I got suckered into that the other night watching somebody ice cookies, and they were charging, it was like $14 a cookie. But then watching it, I watched, a 2-minute video that was a time lapse. They're not charging enough, but it was so amazing just to watch it and see the things that happen with it. So yeah, if you have any way to do your process to video it and then upload it and get it out there for people to see. And plus, it doesn't have to be perfect. People understand that. There doesn't have to be this big production. I don't need, you don't need 37 lights and all these cameras and these special effects and that. No, just be real. And as things go off and go from there.
Yeah, all you need is a light and a computer and a phone, and you can do a broadcast. You can do it through Zoom, record it, and share it.
What is let's see. Oh, come on. Let's see. Spring for the Zoom. You have to pay for it. $160 a year. It's worth it.
Tax deductible.
Yeah. If Christine says something's worth it, I'm gonna 100% agree with her, because she will never steer us down the wrong path. She's come up with amazing ideas and great things with that. But she just started up her Reading and Rants. I think that was the name of it. She's starting up her podcast for that, and like that. Now is the time. If there's something that you want to do, what else you got to do? Most of us, sales have tanked. So what are you doing? I'm taking more classes on learning how to do stuff like this to get better at it, because why not? Yeah, I've got the stuff for it. So let's try and add something to it. And will I ever do anything with it? I don't know. But it's just knowing the process on how something's done makes you better understand why you should charge what you do, why you're getting charged for something. On embroidery, we all know what we're getting charged for. Watch somebody actually go through the process from beginning to end. There's so much to it. And watch somebody that actually puts a real video up there of, yep, this broke, this happened, something like that, where you can see the mistakes that you don't have to worry about that. You just order and it shows up. You don't see everything on the back end, and then things, change and go from there.
Well, I'm going to add, I'm not surprised that you blinged out your mouse after having the blue toenails.
I know, but that's amazing. And
you're just looking for an excuse to add more.
I am. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I've got some ideas. I was thinking about doing my iPad, but I don't know. I think if I do that, I kind of want to do something mosaic with it, where I put a design and see how much fun I can have with this. But Kelly's got some great videos over at the Crystal Ninja Dojo, and some 2 in now. I think that I'm going to do the ombre tumbler next, because I think we've got tumblers here, got stones. Why don't I try this ombre tumbler thing and see how that turns out? But yeah, whatever.
I'm glad you said tumblers. Renee posted a video that I'm obsessed with of her laser machine doing some tumblers.
Pepe's amazing. I could sit and watch Pepe all day long.
All day.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that where we would get that, we're just setting up our printer, and that was the whole thing when we moved to the mall, or when we moved to our new location. We're like, okay, we're setting this camera up here, we're setting this up here. So then I have it on the Spangle machine and I have it on the printer, and it's just watching it print, because people love to see action of stuff working. Here's this. I could watch that all day. And there's something that the sound people, on hearing the stuff, on hearing the stuff on the stitch count, there's a whole, sub genre of people that are crazy about sound. Just they want to hear people eat chips. It's weird. It's crazy. But hearing,
that's my worst nightmare.
Yeah, and
listening to people chew makes me want to crawl the wall.
They love it, But that hearing the embroidery machine, hearing the Spangle machine, anything like that, seeing, hearing, it's just another thing to it. But yeah, that's that. Hell, we got 33 minutes in, Grant. What do you think? You got anything else to add? Anything else you want to say?
Maybe see if there's any other comments that are out there before we sign off.
Yeah, what do we got here? So we got, that's what Kelly, was the ASMR. That's what it's called. And as Stephanie said, it's therapeutic to see
the beep of the Hotronics is like ringing a cash register.
Yep, that's exactly what that one is. What else do we got here? Blinged out microphones. Aaron shipped out the microphones. They're coming to me. That's on it. We're blinging it out. I saw a couple different things, so those will be there. And I'm gonna I don't know if I'm gonna time lapse it, because I don't know how much time it's gonna take me. If this took me 3 hours to do, but there's so many curves in this, and that was the thing is, it's like, oh, how long could this possibly take? Now, somebody that's doing this, they probably bang it out in no time. But between the curves on the buttons that go up here, the curves on the back to make everything here, it was a total thought process that in my head I'm like, oh, there's nothing to it. And then you start doing it, you're like, holy hell, there is way more to this than what I thought, because it's just planning out for this, planning out for that. So learned a lot with that. And in the microphone, I did take that class, so now I know how to properly prep and stone a microphone, which will be amazing. Christine said that that reading and ranting, that's what it is. Reading and ranting is her new podcast. So, and Christine, I think she has a link for it in our group. If not, Christine, put a link in there and we'll get that promoted for you. What else do we got up here? Stephanie, she said that she loves Zoom, used it for her classes while taking a graduate degree. One of my members was, yeah, I'm not good. What is that? Djobi? Yeah. Yeah, come on, Grant. Yeah. So one of them was in Africa.
It's not local. It's not in Illinois.
It's not local. Renee, Zoom cocktails. Renee, a couple of her girlfriends and her got together last week, and that's what they did. I'm seeing
it's airport rules too.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people just do this. Where hey, we're just going to get on and we're going to talk and go from there. And Facebook user, I don't know who you are because you did not allow StreamYard to use it, but you closed a new client today because of phone call. But sometimes that's all it takes.
Congratulations.
Is that simple person-to-person interaction, that call. And I'm bad about answering calls. You know, when I see stuff, especially out of my area, I'm like, he's trying to sell me something. You know, leave a message and I'll call you back. You know, we'll go from there. I don't want to answer everyone. And I mean, especially now, I bet we're averaging about 20 of the finance calls a day. Hey, did you know that this finance program is available? Hey, did you know that we can do this for you? No, based on your revenue, we can do this for you and do this for you, because people are going to be able just to, you know, be a sucker and take that, you know, super high interest loan and try and get out of things. So my advice on that too is wait as long as you can to take any of those, because
cash. Yeah,
you know, it's just, I think in here, Illinois, you see the grant that they did for that, which I don't know where you guys qualify with it, where it was the $50,000 grant for it. So in our region here in the Quad Cities, Moline was one of the cities that is not in the area, so we do not get it. But if I go a mile over into East Moline, then they qualify for it. So I know quite a few people that said, hey, it's a grant, why wouldn't I take it up on it and be able to use that money to better my business? Which, if it's there, look at it. But any of those loans that you take out, loan being the key word, remember that you can't get rid of them. If you declare, it's like a student loan. You know, if you declare bankruptcy, that loan's still there. So that's going to follow you around there. You still have to pay that back. Now it's going to be great interest rates and great terms, but you still have to pay that back. And a lot of the one that I saw was it's 8 weeks out from when you take it is when the first payment's due. When is this going to be over? So, you know, hold off as long as you can on it, because if this goes 3 months, what are you going to do when that payment's due? So just think about that on any of your finances, and, you know, get with a good finance guy. You know, they'll be able to, you know, help you walk through it and what's the best for you and your business. So see any comments I missed on here, Grant, or anything new coming in down here?
Eric had a good one here at the end.
Oh yeah,
about the magic. It's all magic. Yep. I don't do any of this. So when I see it happening, I'm still in awe every single day, watching things get designed, watching things get made that, you know, I see a lot of it. And if it still excites me, imagine what it does for your customers who may only buy 1 or 2 things a year, or your businesses that don't know how to make a logo and don't know where to get shirts done or magnets or anything like that. Like, there needs to be the wow factor.
Yeah. And just having that content to put out there, you know, here's what we do, you know, here's a job that we did today. And if you do a whole video of it, you can break it down and just show pieces of it. You know, here's me setting it up, done. There's a video. You know, you can take that, if that process of you setting some up, you know, print and press, doing everything from start to finish, it takes you 20 minutes. You can break each one up and there's a little piece of content. So you can get 5 posts out of that one thing that you did. You know, just here it is. And day 1, we did this, day 2, and, you know, show the process of it. It's just, you know, keeping yourself in front of their eyes and doing something from there.
Well, not just post it on social, for your own websites, YouTube channels. Make sure you've got a blog that talks about how a shirt is made. Number 1, that will help you with your SEO relevance. And really, with the downturn in the business right now, every single one of you has an hour or 2 a day that you can learn about Google My Business or website SEO relevancy, things like that, but it doesn't cost you any money. You can put that content up there and have people organically find you. Somebody that's searching how to make a t-shirt, and you've got a blog post with a video that you can connect with them. They can see the beginning, the middle, the end, and they may reach out to you to do business. And that's all free advertising. But then it ties back to what we talked in earlier. When they do order, you've got your thermal printer. So now you've got the consumer experience. You've got your nice poly bags. You've got your business card, your flyer with your coupon code. and that customer becomes stickier. They're going to come back to you. You don't have to pay to market to them a second time if you wow them first time. And we've all got plenty of time that we can spend devoted to increasing the health of our business by leveling up, right?
Yeah,
If you treat it like it's a luxury brand, like you do, you include freebies and everything.
Yeah,
even if it's just a decal.
I did go ahead and finish Tiger King. That was, but I could have invested that in my business. So I mean, that's the thing. If you can tell me, who some of these people are, and we had a conversation on our court today when we were practicing social distancing amongst our neighbors, all sitting in golf carts, 12 feet apart from each other. They're like, hey, "Have you started Ozarks yet?" I'm like, "No, what's that?" "So we're in season 3. You should need to go through this." So I'm
done. I'm done. It's good.
Yeah, I'm like, there's tons of great content that's out there that I'm like, I totally got time to watch this now. But I'm still making sure we take care of the business. Here's this, and now, from working from home, I kind of like it. I'm getting to sleep in a little longer. I don't have to wake up with the kids and that. I get to have a little more fun. I get to, nobody questions you drinking at 10 in the morning now. It's the norm. It's okay to do that. So it's just, like I said, it's changing the way that we're doing business. And if you can find time to watch all that stuff, you can find time to spend, a half hour on your business to make it better.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the biggest switch here with everything slowing down is, prioritizing that time to reinvest in yourself, whether it be continued education or something as trivial as updating a website. There was never the hours to do that because you were so busy. Businesses right now of all over the spectrum are cash poor, right? Everybody's burning through money. Employees are being laid off, all of that. So look at that as an opportunity to really invest in your processes, because processes create efficiencies and efficiencies create profitability. And tying that into subletting things.
Shirt, Grant, that's your shirt. You need to wear that every time you go to a show.
Do you know every time I say that, she yells at me?
Well, and here's the thing, and I look at it as you got to think, you guys have kind of the best of both worlds there. You have a creative one that here's this is, I just want to do this and do this, and then I have the other side, the business side of those. Yeah, that's great. You want to do this, but if it's costing you money, not making you money, is it really worth doing? I understand you're great at it. I mean, I understand you're happy doing this, but if you want it as a business, so yes, there's going to be that times where, things aren't going to be there, but both sides of it. So together, it's like a handshake. It all works out,
No, you bring a perfect point. And that's been our, battles with is what you love to do and what makes you the most money. And, again, I know I've said this ad nauseum, but right now is the perfect time to practice. You can film that. You can do a giveaway. You can make a shirt. You can make a design. You can make whatever and give it away to somebody for liking or sharing your page, and use that to hone in your skills, but also create, some process efficiencies, whether it be in ordering or in production or in shipping, all the things that go into the, the 5 keys from the first training session. Yeah. These are all things now that there's no excuse not to get better at, because if you do, you'll come out of this much more quickly and much more profitable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know like this for a lot of people is very hard to do. Just get on here and chit chat with it. But really, just do it. If you want to, I'll do this every day with somebody. If somebody wants to come on, hey, 15 minutes, let's just get you in front of a camera and talk. Hey, that's all you got to do, and don't worry about the comments. Don't worry about anything. Just talk about what you know, because I think that was something else that when I talked to somebody, they didn't realize how much they actually knew until they were with other people that didn't know as much as them. They're like, oh my God, I was able to answer that question. Corey will get that where Corey is not design side of anything. She's great on the production side, great on the shipping side, great on that side of it. She wants to know more about it. But there's a couple questions that come in the different groups, and she's like, hey, I know the answer to that, because she's paid attention. She's seen it. She's done it. She's seen designs and be like, oh, I would never do it that way because the weeding on that looks ridiculous. What? And that until you start doing it, you don't realize things like that. And so, you know more than what you do. Give yourself credit for it, because, if you're in this business, you're in it. You're doing something. And there's somebody that has just started that doesn't know anything. So, share the knowledge with it, and it just helps everybody grow from there.
What are your thoughts on getting into selling designs? Have you thought about that? Because, there's a lot of Cricut crafters out there that are buying SVGs from Etsy and don't have the, design space is somewhat limited.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on growing that side of your business?
I've thought about it because it's just like anything. Once you have the design, it's done. I can sell it forever. I spent the one time to do it. So even if something took me 5 hours to do, And let's say my rate, $100 an hour for easy math, it's $500. Well, there's no way in hell I'm selling it for $500.
Right.
But if I sell it at five, I only have to sell 100 of them, for the lifespan of whatever platform it's on, to cover it. So if you do that, we've got there's a couple different designers that I work with. Where that's what they do is design, and so I've been trying to work with them to get them to go to a monthly membership program where, hey, you're already putting out 2 to 3 designs a day. Why not just say, hey, for $40 a month, you can get every design I come out with. Well, then, $40, if they got 100 people, that's $4,000 from doing something that they're already doing. So that's nothing to shake a stick at from doing something you're already doing. That once it's done, it's out there. Now, if you add more people, it's just more and more revenue. Get 1,000 people. What's that? Or you started 1,000, so there's 4,000. Get 10,000. There's 40. You just keep. Once it's out there, done, move on from it.
Great idea.
All
you need to do is build an audience in Facebook of people that have liked Cricut.
Yep.
Market to them with a package of designs and do it outside of your geographic area so that you're not enriching your customers. Go out 30 miles and start targeting people that are buying these things that aren't going to steal your customers.
Well, and that's even with us on the business side of it. That's what we're looking at is what is the best market that serves us for where we're at. Because, we want those people that are, sitting at home that think, I love doing this, but I can't make any money on it. Right. Anybody that has, a printer, a cutter, a press, you can make money at this. It's easy. There's nothing like, I don't need, an astrophysics degree to be able to make a shirt, to make a decal, to do anything like that. I just need the passion behind it. So, here, if we can help those ones get together, so that's what we're looking at, the smaller groups, or not the smaller groups, but the home-based people, here, we can help you take that to the next level by doing something that you're doing. And it's a tough market to get into because people think you're out trying to take advantage of them, because, who is this and what are you doing? And that's why we built the community we have. Anybody can join. You can see this is what our bread and butter is helping the small businesses get to that next level. And we know that we're going to lose customers that once they get there, they're like, yeah, this is kind of remedial information. I can go on from there. But that's why we're trying to build more on the backside of here's extra stuff we can do. Here's another layer of training. Here's another mastermind. Here's things that we can do to keep those in the funnel longer. And the more they tell people, then the more the whole process just starts over. So
you make it sound like it's multi-level marketing.
Right, I know, only you're not selling anything. But if you want to, we do have an affiliate code, so you can go ahead and go out there and sell everything.
There we go.
Make money
Shameless
on it. That's perfect. I mean, sell our stuff, make some money, everybody's in it. But that's the thing is, if you are really vested in something, you really, are in it and you believe the principles behind it, are you really selling anything you wouldn't want to sell? You're selling something that, hey, this what it helped me with, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not saying, hey, we should sell, like diapers. Why would that is sitting here? It's because I built this in the basement, and that's our project, going through these boxes that have been in the basement forever. Of do we really need this? We're done having babies.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
How did you get over the point of selling what you like versus selling what people want to buy?
I never sell what I like because nobody likes it. Well, now people like what I like, but I was never on the front side of it. I was never the artist side of it. I love the back end of just making somebody else's vision come true, and that's in our sales process. What do you want? How can we help bring, we're not the designer, you're the designer. You tell us what you want, and then we steer in the direction of what is the most efficient and most cost-effective way for them to get that job done. Because sometimes customers don't realize, hey, that's not going to be the best thing for what you're asking for. And it's our jobs as salespeople to point them in the right direction. So at the end of the day, they get what they wanted and they think they did all the work for it. Now, I went through it. There's a couple of years ago where I designed stuff. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. And I'm just like, okay. And so I'm like, I'm just going to put stuff out there because the amount of time that I think I like something, I realize it's not, not everybody has the same taste as me. So it was easier to sell the project end of it where you like something, we can help you design that. We can put that design together for you. We can do this for you. And we have the stock designs that people can choose from many different places, but it's so hard for me to say, this is my style and take it or leave it. And there's plenty of people that do that and do it well, because that's their core. This is it. You either love it or hate it. I don't care. I'm going to keep doing me. I was never that tied to it. If somebody came in here now and wrote me out a check for this. So yeah, I'm not that, I'm not that tied to it. I can always do other things. I love what I'm doing, but in this last, year, the teaching side of it, I've found way more rewarding. The pay's less, the hours are more, but the reward's greater on it. And it's weird for in the last 2 years to going from making awesome money to have a desk job where it was great. I had my 8 to 4. Everything was taken care of for me. Here's my numbers. I'm hitting them. This is great. I'm gonna retire from here to being. I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled with it. The shirt and decal thing had always been there, so started that, and we grew from our little store, and then we doubled sales, and we doubled sales, and we doubled sales, and we're like, hey, let's go ahead and we're gonna make a run at this, and it got to a point where I knew where our bills were. I knew what we had for money. I knew what I needed to make, and it was supporting that. Now it sucked because it was, cutting the pay in half. So we definitely couldn't do the things we want to do anymore, but it felt so much more rewarding. And I'm running into the same thing now where the teaching side of it, God, I'm loving it. I'm loving everything I do, but the pay suck and the hours more. Only this time I can't take as much of a pay cut because we already did that once. But it's just way more fun for me to interact with people and to see people after they go through it to be like, hey, this helped me, and that's the biggest reward that I've gotten from it.
Well, I think to that, as Christine just said about teaching, right? Not everybody can do it. Not everybody has the patience for it. Not everybody has the energy or the ability. So if you do it from an honest place and you do it with the desire to truly help people rather than enrich yourself, the customers will come back to you. There's no doubt that your wholesale business is going to skyrocket due to your teaching. Who cares what the retail does? Ditch the shop.
Yeah, and that's
nobody who wants to work wall hours anyway. I mean, it's fine. It's fine when you're 16, but.
And that's the thing is I changed my, when we opened up the first time that we went in there, our hours were from 4:30 to 9. That was it. I did that in the malls because I signed off. But then we started doing full time. I'm gonna do 10 to 6. And I was getting them there 8 to 6. So I was putting in my 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday. Saturday I was in there at 7 to 4. This time I'm like, no. So we are 10 to 5. And that first week back, I wasn't getting there until 9:45, 10 o'clock. It was amazing. I did stuff at home. And then on the weekends, we're there till 3. And we were only there for a week before, Rona showed up and everything's kind of went from there. So if it stays, it does. But being here, I have felt more free. The biggest thing about being in the mall is I was tied to it. I was there from those hours to those hours. So I couldn't take calls. Everything that I wanted to schedule for our success group had to be after or before those hours. And there's a lot of it that just couldn't be done. And I felt like, I was missing a big chunk of that. So this is giving way more time to trying to vote to that and get things going there. But I did see a great thing on here.
Yeah, there's a couple really good ones that popped up.
Here you go. Let's see this. Grant needs a podcast.
Nobody would ever pay to hear me talk. I do enough of that for free.
I don't know, man.
No ad revenue. I promise you.
What's crazy is I've searched a lot of weird podcasts, not searched for weird podcasts, but I've seen a lot of like, what's this? And I started listening. I'm like, this isn't that bad. It's just, you never know. You don't know until you try. So I say you should do it. And Christine loves doing lives. I've had so much fun with it. And I used to hate seeing myself on camera. Guess I got over that. Yes, you did. And you do an amazing time at it.
Thank you for your time and commitment to doing that. It helps everybody.
Yeah, it most certainly does. Great. If you where the comments are, you can click on any of them and you can show them too. So Stephanie said, time equal money. Can't waste with cumbersome processes. KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Absolutely. Did I miss any in here?
Eric's comment is great. It's not letting me click on it.
Oh yeah.
You've got me in StreamYard jail.
Yeah. This one. Education is incredibly rewarding. I mean, sometimes you pay for the privilege, especially when you travel, but it's amazing to see people grow, able people to execute on the way that they create, the way to create. Absolutely. I think I've walked so many people through on the Roland side of, here, how do I add a cut line? How do I do this? How do I do that? And I'm like, here, let me show you what your settings look like. Here's this, and go through it. And to get 3 days later to get that picture back, just like, got it. It's one of those things just to see, because when I started, and that was kind of how all the business basic group started was when I started 12 years ago. It was like everything was behind lock and key. Nobody was giving information. Nobody's doing it. And you were relying on companies to give you the information, which they're only going to give you so much information about their stuff because they want you to buy their stuff. They're not going to be, oh yeah, this press is better than this one, or these transfers are better than that. No, their stuff is the best of the best because that's what they should be doing. And a screen printer or somebody else in the garment, they weren't just giving you their information. No, you're going to come work for it, and you're going to do this and you do that. And a lot of the classes that I took back then, on the business side of it, were poorly put together. Very few of them talked about the first things that we talk about is here's your overhead cost and here's pricing. It's like, no, here's how you squeegee a shirt. Here's how you set this up. Here's how you do this design. Here's how you do that. So the business side of it was never there, and it was like they didn't really care because they got you in the class and went from there. So when we had the chance to develop this, that was one of the first things I want to do is like, how can anybody that is thinking about this pick up the first set and from that be able to take enough information, at least have a good understanding of should I be in business, and if I'm going to be in business, here's what I need to do to be profitable with it.
In this industry, it's so ADD, right? These
Mm-hmm.
vendors are out there encouraging you to do 100 things. Well,
Yeah.
you can only do 100 things at 1%.
Yeah.
Right. Because you get spread thin. And, the earlier question about moving into different products and different equipment, you could go crazy trying to keep up with all these trends. But then you look at the folks that really do what they do and are really successful, Todd, whether it be with the Versacam or Kelly with the Stones, do one thing, master one thing at 100%.
Yeah.
Master running your business in that silo. So you're not working 14-hour days, getting nothing accomplished, not growing. Grow with one thing and then add another once you determine that you've got the efficiency and the capability to do it.
Yeah.
Don't be in a hurry to get too big too quick, because all it'll do is cause burnout.
Yeah, I was looking today. I was reading a book. Imagine that. I've been reading more too. It's crazy when you have this extra time on there. But take a circle, right? Take a circle and write down your one goal in it, and that's your focus circle. If you have one goal in it, then 100% is on that goal. Now, if you have two in it, it's half. Now there's 50-50. Now add another one. Now you're at 33% on each one of them, and then keep adding all the stuff you do, and realize of that 100% focus you have, if each one of that piece of think of like a pizza. There's 16 pieces of that. That's 16 pieces that are getting divided of your focus. So how can you do one thing great when it's being divided up over 16, 32, how many ever different things that you're doing? You get down one process good, and you get it well enough where you can have somebody do it for you and walk away from it without it causing you any concern. Then start on the next and get it to go from there, and then move on from there. But trying to do too many things at once, I've seen way too many people fail at it, or I've seen people that have wanted to take the jump too big. Hey, I have a Cameo and I want to print full color decals, and so I want a Versacam, and then I'm like, okay, well, it's about 20 grand for you to get in it from new.
Right.
We can use one for that, and they're like,
plus
there's
media.
no way I can do that. And it's like, you don't have to do that. You can buy from somebody else and sell them and still make good money at it. You don't need to do it just because you think you need to do it. Embroidery was one that I had in my head that we were going to get into embroidery. Every Christmas it irritates me because our embroidery is minimum 12 pieces. That's fine. At Christmas time, we get a hit with a lot of, hey, can you do this stocking? Hey, can you do these robes? Can you do these one-off things? I don't have an embroidery machine, so I'm like, damn it, we're missing out on this revenue. I totally need to get one. And then even looking at what it cost me, like, okay, well, how many of these $10 things am I going to have to do to get this back? I'm like, I'll never get it back. I'll just, not do it. And it took me a while. I actually had to sit down, and I was ready to pull the trigger on what we are going to get. And I'm like, let's just step back for a second and listen to ourselves. Is this really going to work? And we thought about it and realized, yeah, as much as I love one, and I still want one, just to play, to say I have one. It's just not cost effective for us to do it because we're not doing it enough. And we get a good enough pricing from our embroiderer to not have to worry about it, So I don't want it. I want it, but I don't want it. One of those crazy things.
So talking about growing your business, if you were starting all over, brand new business, what would be that first goal that you would write down in the paper?
That first goal, if I was starting all over.
If you had to pick one word that went in that circle, what would it be?
Happiness. Be happy. I mean, I don't want to do anything that's going to make me unhappy. I don't want to do anything that's going to take away from that happiness. Seeing my kids, being able to do that. I don't want to have to put in 14, 15, 16-hour days and not see the kids. I don't want to come home and not like the job that I'm doing. If you're not happy at what you're doing, it shows in your work.
Sure.
You start caring less about it. You're just getting it done. Being happy is so important, I think, in business, and people often overlook it. They're just like, well, it just is what it is. And it's not. If you're not happy doing something, why are you doing it?
So that goes into something I was taught in sales a long, long time ago. People only do something for two reasons. One is to avoid pain, and the other is to move towards pleasure.
Yeah.
So that happiness should be the overarching goal. I unpack that a little bit further, and I would look at, not only do you need to define what would make you happy, take that goal, move that off on the side, and then you need to create what is your brand? What does your brand stand for? What is the mission statement, similar to one of the exercises? What is your why? And almost put those up on the wall. You could write them in dry erase on the mirror, the accountability mirror, as David Goggins calls it. And if you haven't listened to or read that book, I highly recommend it. That'll get your ass off the couch and moving. But that why is the most important. And I think, I see this from the outside when Vanessa's working sometimes 18-hour days and doesn't know what her name is and hates all her customers and hates everything she's doing. When she sits back and somebody thanks her for a project and gets a tear, that why comes back. And, losing sight of that why is something that I think we all fall, prey to.
Yep.
And especially in this business with the monotonous repetition, and it's Groundhog Day over and over and over again, that why is more important than ever, and that why translates into your brand, which then translates into how customers see you, whether it be marketing, whether it be your sales process, all of that ties back into that why.
Absolutely. Well, I think, Grant, you ended that on a perfect note for us.
Let's do it.
I think, hey, we shot for 15 minutes, half hour, and we're at an hour. So I think we did good on this one. High five on that.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. You have a great time. We'll see you tomorrow. We got Tuesday with Todd tomorrow night. We got a couple things we're going to go over there. We got training on Wednesday. We'll be back here with Q&A with T and somebody. Maybe A. We'll see if A shows up. But we'll definitely be back here, and find us in the group. So till then, we'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.
Now, if we